typically it's 2 phones there, maybe sometimes it's 3, so it's different. And obviously we sat down as a team, not just IT, but facilities and everyone, and said, okay, let's put our negative devil's advocate hats on, and because it's a critical role, you know, it's like what could happen that could go against us, that could delay, add cost, not work, fail, and then just think about, okay? And there were some snafus. Now, how many people watched it? I'm just curious. Yeah. Did you see any? Did you hear or see anything?
I don't remember any.
No one heard the bump? No one heard there was a bang kind of behind the screen? Yeah. I think it was more readily available if you were there than it was on TV. At one point, Obama kind of turns around, does that. Romney kind of turns around, these kind of smile at each other and keep going. So what had happened was, and this was nothing we did, this was the production company that built the stage and all that stuff. They had used Velcro to Velcro some of the lighting controls to the back of the curtain, and it got so hot that the Velcro melted, and bam, the piece hit the ground. Nothing failed, but you heard the bang. And if you're the president and you're hearing a bang, it's like, you know, you can kind of freak out a little bit. But yeah, so that happened when we rolled over the main network closet from building power. We rolled, because we built it on building power, and then we were going to roll it over to the backup generator power. It didn't work. It wouldn't come up. So I mean, those things you have to anticipate, some of those things, which are hard, you know, but you have to think about it. So from an overall kind of scope standpoint, this wasn't just about the debate. We knew that we were going to plan over 100 pre and post events, right? Some of these were like Condoleezza Rice came and did a presentation to the law school about the whole debate, election system, stuff like that. Every one of these had some kind of IT needs, right? So we weren't just planning for the day 0, we were planning, and this took place months, up to 6 months prior. Okay, and then we also planned what we called the Debate Fest. This was the outdoor party outside. This was outside of the Secret Service area, and that was huge. We had a stage, we had the Lumineers play, if you can kind of remember that, it was kind of cool. We had food trucks. I mean, it was a lot of fun. MSNBC had a huge stage outside. That's where they, in fact, when you saw their shots, if you watched that, that was Mary Reed, which is our administrative building in the background. So we had to plan for all that. Most of these stuff were outside. Well, we have some Wi-Fi out, obviously. We're a huge Wi-Fi campus, but we don't have those kind of circuits. So we had to think about, how do we do this? So literally the team came up with this idea. They found a product. These are fiber optic reels. And basically you can roll them up and you can put them back out. So anything we needed, we would run it from our nearest closet, run it out there. We'd put a switch under a table outside so it was kind of protected if there's any rain. And you just had to do those things on the demand.
How many staff are we talking about doing all this?
Well, our staff, we have a staff of 68, is our central IT. And we probably had, at any given, probably the most we had from our business partners on campus at any site was probably about 36.
That's it?
Yeah.
It's pretty slim for this.
This is just IT people.
Yeah, this is just IT. This doesn't include all the event services, the people building stages. I mean, there was hundreds and hundreds. From an IT standpoint, I would say the max at any, and remember, our 68 were not all assigned to the debate. We carved out so many that were leads in their area, but others, I mean, we had to still answer the phone and monitor the current service and stuff. So I'd say at worst case, at day 2, 1, and 0, which were the busiest days, we probably had 75% of our staff disengaged from everything else. But we closed the campus the day of the debate and closed early the day before, for obvious reasons. Focus. Right? So this kind of shows you what the Debate Fest, if you're sitting a little far back, you may need to come up to kind of see the pictures a little bit, and that's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But this was the stage. This is in the common green space, which is right kind of on the center of campus. And I don't know if you can see on the left, there's a Jumbotron, and of course, when you take a picture, it doesn't look right. We actually had 2 of those, one on either side, so people could watch it and see it. We had the Lumineers, the Chancellor gave his big address. We had some interpretive artists, which was kind of weird, but fun stuff like that. Okay, so this just kind of shows kind of what it looked like when people, and you can see the media truck and the booms and stuff and that in the background. I think we had about 5,000 guests for this event, and then in the debate hall, the seating for that is strictly managed by the CPD. There was, I think, 1,000 seats. We got 300 tickets. The rest, dignitaries, politicians. Okay, we had what we called Issues Alley, so people could set up booths and give out flyers and kind of talk politics and all that kind of stuff. We sold every one of these, by the way.
Is all of this something that CPD told you to do, or is this
No.
kind of fun?
All this outdoor stuff was this is all us.
Just showing
Yeah.
off to you.
That's right.
Okay.
But it's also, we thought of this as really being an event for the students. I mean, how often do students get to attend something like this? It's a huge opportunity for the DU students. So we wanted it done in a way where it was very meaningful. They could talk about issues. They could share their ideas in a very respectful, well-managed way. Right. So this was Issues Alley. It was very, very busy. This was one of the knocks. This was the on-campus knock, which is a little smaller. Yeah. So I mean, literally, you can see right in the center. You can see the guy with the thing behind him. That's a cop. I mean, that's the Denver police. So, and you know, it was interesting. On the day of the event, there were 90 members of the Secret Service on campus. I never saw one. Never saw one. Okay? Because what they do is they have the police do the gates and kind of the perimeter kind of stuff. Never saw one. Saw a couple red dots. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
So don't they wear?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And you don't, even with those, you can't tell them?
Never. I mean, some of them were probably just kind of looking like us in like jeans and a shirt, just walking through the crowd, guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And some of them were in the rafters. I mean, prior to that, I did see them a few days because, you know, they scoped out every inch of campus. So basically what happened was about 3 months out, they came and scoped the whole campus. And that's how they decided where the perimeter was going to be. And they started like 7 days out with a small perimeter, about like here, just around Magnus Arena, the Ritchie Center where we play hockey and stuff. Okay, 3 days out, it moved out another block. Okay, 1 day out, it moved out another block. So literally, they kept expanding the control. So for us, in terms of the dual staffing, we had to know that we all had the right credentials. But I had to have both the primary and the secondary staff in there because they couldn't get in and out once it was set. So we had beds and cots and food and everything set up.
Oh, yeah.
Right, all of our tools, we had to think ahead, what tools are we going to need? What might we need? Because we had to have everything scanned and everything in prior. If we forgot anything, we just didn't have it. Wow. And boy, they checked phones. I mean, if you think an airport screening, you know, it's bad, you know, woo, and all those kind of things, this was pretty intense. So.
Did you get any type of indication if one of the candidates wasn't an incumbent, if the security would have been so tight, or was it because the president was actually there?
They're usually pretty careful anyway, but because the president was going to be there, obviously it sends it off the charts, right? Another scope issue, though, now that you mentioned that, we had to build and design for 3 candidates, okay? Because you don't know if there's going to be an independent candidate there or not.
Oh my God.
And we didn't know that until a week ahead of time, literally. So we had to build and design campaign space for 3 campaigns, assuming there was going to be, because it has to be equal. And let me tell you, the arguments and all that and the feedback. I mean, once the campaigns got there, they sent us a list of stuff. I mean, they literally changed everything. So we had design and everything in there per the CPD specs. They changed everything. They changed the number of connections. So this is where our planning up front really helped, because we basically just built a 10 gig feed into every campaign office. Had tons of capabilities, so we could just quickly add patch cords for everything. So VoIP phones, we had the Amphenol cables. If they wanted more of a secure phone, you kind of get. I don't think analog phones any more secure than a VoIP phone, but there's perception here. We'll just leave it at that. So we were able to do anything like that on the fly, and they literally changed. And at one point, we thought we were going to have to change Romney's office because he didn't like where it was, and the Secret Service dictates where they can be because they don't want it near an exterior wall for obvious reasons, right? So they had to be on interior. So we ended up having them in our men's hockey locker room and our, the other one was the women's basketball team. I mean, these are very nice locker rooms. They're very, very nice. We treat our athletes pretty well there. So they were nice, but I mean, they have to be equal. I mean, everything. Square footage has to be exact. It's just nuts. It's like, oh my goodness.